let me talk about two levels of experience. I think first, politically, I think people understood politically why it was time to, end the KDP. First of all, a lot of the members of the KDP were being transferred or had already been transferred out of the KDP into the organization, the Line of March, to do other work outside of the Filipino community. And so the ranks of the KDP, a lot because, we had some of the most skilled organizers in our movement. And so the Line of March really needed that level of organizers to do work outside of just the Filipino community. So second of all, our relationship with the Philippine movement had been severed because of our differences in terms of our platforms and in terms of what our priorities were. And then third of all, the Marcos dictatorship had been overthrown, and so the need for, in terms of that organizing, was no longer there. People had a lot of hopes for the Aquino government, and then a lot of the institutions, the democratic institutions, were reinstituted in the Philippines. So just the crisis that had been taking place in the Philippines was no longer there, and so just that the organizing around that was not as crucial as it had been during the Marcos years. So people at one level saw the need to disband, but at the same time people wondered, well, who's then going to do the organizing in the Filipino community? Are we going to abandon the Filipino community? Because people knew that once the KDP was disbanded, people were going to go off and do organizing in other arenas, and would they abandon the Filipino community? And so would all of that work been for naught if we would just leave it and go do other organizing? So, there was still a lot of tension whether we were doing the right thing by disbanding. At the emotional level, people didn't want to give up their family. There was still a lot of resistance, even though people were being transferred into the Line of March, into a predominantly white organization. They didn't want to go because the KDP was their family. This was a group of people they lived with, a group of people they played with, they drank with, they raised each other's kids, and so they didn't want to be broken up, right? And so it was difficult. I think that was really the difficult part, and many people felt that their family was being broken up, and they didn't want that to happen.